What beautiful energy. Thank you, thank you. This is an energy that just fills us up, isn't it? So now let's sit, because we are going to open up in prayer as we always do. And let's just stay with that idea that you are the face of God, that you are the very expression of this presence of God. And so let us just now close our eyes together and drop into this presence of God. Take a deep breath in with me. And just let's release everything. Let's release all of the activity of the morning, all thoughts, feelings. Let it all go. And taking another breath in, allow ourselves to feel this light of God, the light of wisdom, truth, inspiration, strength. Feel this light. Connect with it. Feel this heart. Open your heart. Feel the presence of the power of love. The power of love which tells us of our oneness, our interconnectedness. The love that is eternal, no beginning and no end. And now, feeling this presence of light and love that we are, feeling it moving in and through us, move it out as us, into this sacred space, into our country, into our world, lifting right here and now all those that are in pain and suffering. See this light of wisdom, this love, unconditional love, the love of oneness, in all the areas in our country and our world that are filled with hate and violence, and all those that are the victims of this energy. And feel this light and love enveloping our planet Earth. And we say, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. And staying with this consciousness of oneness, and again, I think with everything that's going on around us right now, in our world, in our own country, all of the feeling of anger and separation and the expression that is showing up as violence, to remind ourselves as much as we can that we are one, that we are interconnected. And that what happens to you actually affects me. And we don't always remember that. So I think that this gives us an opportunity each Sunday to remind ourselves that this is who we really are. When we talk about oneness, this is what we're saying. In consciousness, we may be showing up in different personalities, but we're showing up through the presence of one God, one presence, one power in the universe and in my life. And so with that in mind, I invite you now to turn to your neighbor. It could be next to you, it could be behind you, and just say, the divine in me beholds the divine in you. And I'm saying that to those of you that are joining us virtually. The divine in me beholds the divine in you. And now let's say hello in however we would like to do that. Good morning, everyone. So turn to your neighbors, say hi, welcome them. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning. Molly and I were out walking in this fall morning, and knowing how lovely it is, and with all the activities that are going on now, you have chosen to be here, to show up in person or online. And for this, we say thank you. It's important because we're gonna come to this at the end of the talk, but it's like here in my brain, so I'm gonna say it now anyway, because oneness is community, right? Oneness means I don't just sit off by myself. Oneness means I show up and I'm a part of. I do my part of. And so here we are, and again, thank you. So I have two things that I want to talk about quickly before we bring our platform person up. And the first one is that we have our metaphysical Bible interpretation class that I'm leading. Now, it just started last Tuesday, so we're just tapping into it. But what I wanted to really say is that if you missed the first class, that's okay. We will cover what we're doing, and if you want, you can email the church. If you haven't gotten any, I did handouts from the first lesson. So if you haven't received them and you want them, just drop an email to the office and we can get you the handouts so that you have a chance to at least look at what we covered on last Tuesday. And I'm emphasizing this because metaphysics is how unity, it shows us how unity has come to all the concepts that we are talking about here on a regular basis. How it talks about light. We started with Genesis, the creative process. So Genesis 1 isn't even about the creation, the manifestation of creation. It is all about the process, mind-idea expression. And so this is what we were looking at. And all of these come from the metaphysical interpretation of the Bible. So it's a wonderful way to kind of really dive in and explore how unity talks the way we talk. You know, why do we say what we say? And right here in the class, we will get a chance to look at that and certainly to talk about it. See if you're on the same page. And if you're not, that's okay. We'll see what happens. And then the second thing I want to emphasize is, and I've been talking about this, with a save your date. Well, now we've got more than save the date. We are ready. We are launching. We are going full steam ahead with a prayer retreat that we are bringing Linda Martella-Wissett here to Raleigh. We're co-hosting it with Unity Peace of Chapel Hill. So Reverend Victoria and I are both sponsoring this, and here's how we are presenting it. It's going to be in October, and it's a 2-day event. Friday, it will begin here in our church. And our band has graciously offered to come up here on Friday and start out with music. So we will have light refreshments. This is at 6 p.m. We will have light refreshments. We will have some music. And then at 6:30 to 8:30, Linda will do her workshop. This is an in-person. Now, you have to be in person to have the refreshments and the music. But if you aren't able to show up for whatever reason, you can Zoom this. It's $40 a ticket to be part of this workshop. How many of you have been on the journey with me in the classes that we've done since January on Linda's 2 books? Okay, I thought there was more than that because we've been working with that information, and we've had a lot of different people that have participated in that. Linda was the vice president at Silent Unity. And she ran Silent Unity, which is our prayer center, right? We know this. Silent Unity at Unity Village is where all of the prayer requests come. So she did the trainings for the people that answered the phone. She worked with prayer for years. And so since that is really her ministry, she has been writing books about prayer. And we've done quite a few books, because I've talked about prayer since I've gotten here. On Tuesdays, we've done classes on many different authors on prayer when we first began. And this year, since January, we worked with Linda's new book, Discover Your Divine Identity. And then we've also just went right from that into her Divine Audacity, which was talking about the 12 powers. So this is, I think, going to be a really important workshop for us because we talk about prayer as the heart of who we are. Unity began as a prayer ministry. Well, what's more important than to understand what is prayer? How can I understand the unity concept of prayer? So Friday, we'll be doing that right here, person and in Zoom. And then Saturday is the deeper dive. Saturday will be the workshop at Chapel Hill. And that will go from 10 to 3:30 with a lunch included. Now, that's $100. So it's $140 if you do both days. And it's $40 if you can just do the Friday. So put it on your calendar. Start saving your pennies. It's going to be worth it. So now I'm going to bring Mary, our platform person, up.
Good morning. I'm Mary, your platform leader today. And let's start our service by setting our intention. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life and affairs. God, do good. And now we'll bring our band back up. We have Greg, Susan, Peggy, and Ellen.
Good morning, everybody. All right. Let's give thanks and praises. All right. Give thanks and praises to the Most High. Give thanks and praises so high. He will not deceive us, my brethren. He will only lead us again. Oh, take that veil off of your eyes. Look into the future or realize Noah had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And in Ham is known to be the prophet. Glory to God, the Jordan has come. Glory to God, the prophet has come.
Through all the stages.
When my soul was hurting deep, and I know that it is not asleep. Glory to God, the prophet has come. Glory to Jah, the prophet has come. When my soul was hurting deep within, and I worried to be free, desperately, yeah. So guide and protect I and I, oh Jah Jah. Guide and protect I and I, oh Jah Jah. Rastafari is his name. Rastafari is his name. If Jah didn't love I, if I didn't love I, if Jah didn't love I, if I didn't love I, would I be around today? Would I be around to say, give thanks and praises, 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 give thanks and praises.
Thank you, Greg and the band. So, today's Today we're going to be talking about the power of non-resistance. The power of non-resistance. Now, we probably all are pretty familiar with resistance, right? Right? That's what? When I don't want to deal with something, right? And there's lots of ways that we resist things. There's lots of intuitive ways that we just fall into this resistance. First could be what? Avoiding it. Sometimes I like that one. It's kind of like, oh, let me just walk away. Let me just walk away. Of course, you pay the price anyway, right? Because it doesn't go anywhere. Another type of resistance might be to just push it down. What happens if you're feeling angry and hurt and you kind of try to just resist that emotion? You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to face the person. You don't want to engage in this emotion that might be coming up. Does it go away? No, because everything is energy. We're going to focus a little bit on this idea today. Everything is energy. So you can't get rid of energy. It just moves in different ways. And I love water. It's a great example of how energy is similar to what we experience with water. Water, H2O, but it can show up as what? Liquid, steam, vapor. There's ice, hard. It gets hard, crystal hard. It's still H2O. It's still water. And that's kind of what happens with energy. It can shift and change. How it's showing up in our life is emotions. Emotions are energy. So we have different emotions, and they can vibrate at different levels and shift and move, but they don't go away. So if we push down something that we don't want to deal with, it's going to find another way to come out. It's going to come out perhaps in indirect ways. It might come out very direct. That's how we get to violence, right? Anger that isn't dealt with. And that we're going to go on to that actually kind of with the next slide. But what I wanted to talk about is the power. So we're talking about, we understand what resistance is. Resistance is not wanting to deal with something. Resistance is saying no. Right? No. I don't want this feeling. I don't want this situation. I don't want this. So the power of non-resistance is shifting our focus. If we're saying no, what are we saying no to? We're saying no to form. We're saying no to stuff that's happening, we might assume, to us. We're saying no. So non-resistance is really shifting out of this focus on the material, on form, on this reality that we're looking at, that we're responding to, and shifting into our presence of God that we talked about right here at the beginning. Shifting into the presence of God. And in that presence of God, we can experience non-resistance. Because all of a sudden now, we have within us everything that we need. We are now in a place where we are one with God, and that is where we're going to go and look at how do we do that, how do we connect to this, and what are the steps that then liberate us from this resistance. Knowing that it's all energy. So we don't see all of this. It's like wind, right? You don't see the wind. You see the manifestation of the wind. You see the trees blowing, maybe a scarf blowing, a hat blowing. That's the manifestation. You're not seeing wind. So the nice part of this is that everything is kind of coming together right now for us. We can go back to what I talked about earlier, which is the creative process, mind, idea, expression. So we can say that all of these ideas, this is called a spiritual path, right? We have to let go, surrender. We have to become open to the activity of spirit within. So that comes actually from that creative process, mind, idea, expression. Because what it's telling us is that this is how we do create our world. First we get the idea, Then we hold these ideas in mind, and that means we're open. We're talking in the creative process now, so we're open to the possibilities in the universe. And then manifestation shows up. Psychology tells us the same thing. And I love what he's saying here, because he says what you resist not only persists, but will grow in size. We all heard that, like, what you resist persists, but it doesn't always follow with, and it will grow in size. So think about that. You're holding on to that woundedness. You're holding on to that pain. The more you stay there because you think you don't want to deal with allowing yourself to be vulnerable, because that's what we have to do in this process of becoming, letting it all go. We have to allow ourselves to feel what is coming up. And that's the natural defense mechanism, is to protect ourselves. I don't want to feel that. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel comfortable. How many of us have ever had that happen in your life, right? Where you've had something happen and you just didn't want to face it. Perhaps somebody said something and it left you feeling hurt or vulnerable. Does becoming more vulnerable, is that how we have to work through this? I would say that it's not the only step, because if we just say I have to become vulnerable, we're still working with the human condition. What we're really talking about here is, how do we move from defensiveness into this spiritual place where we are able to just be free? So it's a big difference to me. It's a big difference, because it's not just staying in the psychology. It is understanding the spiritual application. The other part of this is that science also has supported with quantum physics this whole idea of energy that we're talking about. So what quantum physics tells us is that energy, again, is there. What is it? Joe Dispenza talks about creating the new neuron pathways. And we do that by the thoughts that we hold in our mind. But we also understand energy in emotions shows up physically, right? So if somebody walks in that door and they are furious, we feel that energy, don't we? So it doesn't have to be somebody who walks in and says, I'm so mad, for you to know that. You can feel, and we usually can see it in the body too. The body takes on the tension. There's usually a more aggressive approach in the way the person walks. Energy shows up, and energy comes out from us. Now, this is what Gary Simmons talks about. He says, it's like the pebble in the pond. When you unconsciously pick up on someone's anxiety or defensiveness, you instinctively resonate with that person's defensiveness by becoming defensive, and this energy radiates out. So I want you to think about this for a moment. If energy can't go anywhere, doesn't die, doesn't disappear, just shows up in different forms, like the wind, it can be a gentle breeze, it can be a big breeze, it can be a hurricane. Think of the power of the hurricane. Our energy is very much like that. That's on a bigger scale. But our energy is like that too. It can be a little breeze. Oh, I'm annoyed, I'm frustrated. It can be, I'm really furious. And then you can actually move that energy out into being aggressive, aggressively violent. So what they're saying here is that it's like the pebble in the pond. All it takes is me letting myself, allowing myself to be that angry, that then starts to put this ripple out there. And that this is the quantum physics of energy. It's called you resonate. That's I'm not saying the term quite right, but what it's saying is that it attaches itself to it. The energy attaches itself to it because it finds something similar to it. And this is how it grows exponentially. Now, if we think about that with anger, what if we do the reverse? What if we're in the reverse where we have let go of our anger, where we're working on these spiritual principles, where we're understanding the teachings that come from the Bible, that come from Jesus? Because what did Jesus say? He said, I am the light and you are the light. And what do we understand just from the very first Genesis story that we started with in this creation story? We said that what is the metaphysics of light? Light means wisdom. Light means wisdom. So you've got wisdom as light and love, which comes from the heart. Love is, you've got wisdom and love, head and heart, thinking and heart center. So Jesus was saying, I am the light, but you are the light. Don't hide it under the bushel. What does a bushel represent? It's a covering, right? Upside down. You're hiding your light under the bushel. It's not coming out. So what do we have to do? It's very simple. We have to get rid of that, what is blocking our light. And then our light will shine out. Turn the other cheek. So if we're talking about our anger, if we're talking about that energy, somebody slaps us on the cheek, we're not supposed to respond with anger. Okay, how does that work? And it doesn't have to be a literal slap. It can be what we were talking about before. I say something unkind. I say something untrue. I say something aggressively. I'm talking about somebody else behind their back. All of these things would be what we're talking about with the slap on the cheek. Because again, it's symbolic, right? It's symbolic. It's saying that I was struck in a negative way. And the turning of the other cheek is simply don't respond back in kind, but to turn your perspective inward to the spiritual nature of love. Love your enemy. That's where it goes, right? What is the greatest commandment? It is love God, love your neighbor, and love your enemy. So we can't get there. We can't get to these ideals that marry with what we are spiritually. That I am made in the image and likeness of God, which means I'm made good. I'm made of love. I'm made in oneness with everyone and everything because I'm just this expression from this consciousness. But I can't get there if I'm stuck under the bushel, if I'm stuck in the realm of reacting. And yet, this is what we were talking about before when I said that what happens to you impacts me and what happens to me impacts you, is that this energy field goes out. It goes out and it gets connected exponentially with other angry energy fields. And before you know it, we can have a hurricane. We can have in collective consciousness, and we're seeing that, right? Aren't we seeing that? We're seeing that in the violence that's erupted in our schools again. We're seeing it in the 2 wars that we've got going on. So if this works, if the principle of spirituality, and that's what we started with, right? We started with creating ideas that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, that the very first chapter of Genesis is the creation story, which is about how do we create in our mind. We haven't manifested yet. It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened in the first chapter. So we're learning that God had this idea. And what is God? God is this omnipresence. Everything is already there, but he had this idea to create. It started there. And for us, it's the same thing. We get an idea. I might want to pursue this field of study. I might want to go to this, paint a picture, whatever it is. It starts as an idea, and then we nurture this idea, mind, idea, expression, and as we hold our thoughts in mind, as we stay committed to this, it produces. And then it's the wind producing the activity that we see, the manifestation that we see. So if this can happen with anger, that it can create this kind of a ripple that ends up exploding in a violence, love can do the same. But we're designed in this human model. We're being called to wake up. We're being called to become conscious. Have you ever been unconscious? And it's just awareness. So I was just telling Greg before the service that I was coming to church Wednesday for yoga, and I was driving along on the highway, and I missed my exit. Well, I didn't know I missed my exit until I was driving, and I said to myself, oh, the signs don't look right. Where am I? So I don't know where I was. I was unconscious. I couldn't tell you right now what I was thinking about, but it was obviously engrossing because I lost track of where I was. So now I've got to figure out, how do I get to church? So I had to go through downtown Raleigh, taking the scenic route, and showed up like, I think, 15 minutes late for the yoga class. So that is just, there is being unconscious on a very benign story. We can be unconscious when we get angry and we don't condition ourselves. So you see that the human part of us is reactive. The human part of us is designed that we have this ego that creates these defense mechanisms automatically, and it starts at childhood. So we're being asked to wake up so that we can change how we're doing things. So we can do this holy shift. We can shift from just a human reaction into a spiritual response in which I live and move and have my being. But it's not going to happen just instantaneously. So that ripple effect that we're watching and feeling happens easier because it's a human reaction. I get angry and I want to either strike back or defend myself, or I repress it and it comes out anyway in different ways. That's the actual reaction. So we have to make the effort. We have to make the effort to wake up, to do these practices, to be the counterbalance so that we can be this other energy. But we talked about that just last Sunday when we said that Mahatma Gandhi said that the most powerful energy out there is love, more powerful than the strongest weapons that we have. But it doesn't happen by accident. So this is the process that we go through. We go through studying. We go through learning how to shift our energy. We're going to stay with energy. How to shift our energy from these lower vibrating energies of fear, anger, insecurities, grief, into the higher ones. And the higher energies are love, peace, joy, enlightenment. Those are the higher vibrating energies. We can shift. We can let those energies go. And I'm not even talking about getting rid of our human part, because we're not. We're not. We're designed. We're going to have these reactions. This is part of the journey. But what we're here to understand is that we can use our spiritual ability to integrate these lower vibrations that we get stuck in, and they lift us up so that we now are on a path to be happy, joyous, and free, to be able to love unconditionally. So let's go on to the next slide. I can't seem to get it to work for some reason. Maybe somebody could press it up there. There we go. All right. So non-resistance is the center of wholeness. That's what I've been talking about. How do we move to wholeness? That's our spiritual center. It is the center of wholeness and the contact point between heaven and earth. Stop right here. I'm not talking about this destination when I say heaven. We'll go back to our metaphysics, okay? In unity, we say, what is heaven? Heaven is this field of infinite potential. Heaven is this consciousness of the presence of God. Jesus again told us, where is heaven? He didn't say, oh, it's where you go when you die, hopefully. He said, the kingdom of heaven is here. It is at hand. It is in the present moment. So this wholeness, this spiritual contact point that is our true nature is between heaven, which is this presence of God, this field of infinite potentiality, and earth, our humanness. It is our spiritual nature and our humanness. It is the I am a spiritual being having a human experience. And between that field of the infinite possibilities and the needs of this particular situation, we get our answers. This non-resistance, when we stop fighting things, when we recognize I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm this, I'm that, and we can just say, okay, and we're going to look at those processes, just say okay and let it go. We start to allow ourselves to tap into this kingdom of the presence of God that is in us with all the infinite possibilities that are needed right here and right now. This is where we find our answers. Now, we also can look to science. It was Albert Einstein who said, you can't solve a problem on the level of the problem. How many of us actually try to do that on a regular basis? Right? Right? We always are impacted by what happens out there, and then our first reaction is, what am I going to do about that? What am I going to do about that? So think about this. What am I going to do about that? What if the answer is simply to just first breathe and realize maybe I don't have to act right away? It's a hard one. I like to act right away. In fact, my husband used to say, ready, fire, aim. So there you go. I'm hardwired to like, okay, I can solve this. I can get out here. Let me at it. Let me at it. I've got this under control here. So pause, stop. Let's look at this. This is about being present to life. So here are our steps. Here are our steps. We want to, when we pause, we want to be present to life means being connected to our experience. So non-resistance simply is telling us that even if it's not comfortable, and of course if we're resisting it, it's not comfortable, right? That would be my first idea. I embrace what I like. Oh, I'm in love. This feels good. I'm ready. You know, that's something I'm not going to, whoa. I don't know how I don't know. But somebody says something, and what happens if it puts you in a position, because I've been here also, where you know that if you have to speak up and be authentic about what you want and what you need, you're not sure that it might jeopardize a relationship, right? You may say to yourself, I might want to keep quiet on this one because I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready to go where this might, by my saying this, where it might take me. Has anyone ever done that? Then you've stuffed it. Does that work? No, doesn't actually work. You're thinking you're avoiding a situation. This is the resistance. You're thinking you're avoiding the situation, but what ends up happening is resentment grows, frustration grows, you're annoyed at the person, and the person is just doing what they're doing. Now, maybe you've tried to indicate to that person that you don't like what's going on, or you need something to change. But you haven't stood your ground. You know, even our everyday people who now, like Brene Brown, right? When she talks about all this, being authentic, brave. We did a book study on one of her books, Braving the Wilderness. And what she really was saying is that we have to be authentic. Now, that's a difference from being reactive. Because being reactive, if we go back to our energies, if I get triggered by it responds, I'm resonating with your anger, or I'm getting defensive, then nobody's hearing anything, right? That's what Gary Simmons was calling the energy of conflict. It's tensions that are butting up against each other. And when we have two tensions that are butting up against each other, nobody's listening, nobody's responding. This is what's happening. And it can get, the vibration, as Carl Jung said, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It increases. So what we're being asked to do is stand in our authentic truth. If it comes from the heart, if it comes from love, we can't go wrong. Because even if it may be what we don't think we want to experience, and I've done that, and actually what ended up happening is that it all worked out. It all worked out because we came to some kind of middle ground. We were able to have a conversation, but my wanting to avoid the situation was not working for me, and I know it wasn't working in the situation too. But it's not always easy, is it, to say what I need, to stand in my truth. That's the vulnerability. So here we are, being connected to our experience. I have to be honest about what I'm feeling. I have to be honest about what I'm feeling. And then being present to life, and this is being present from our center, is connecting to the feelings and intuition. And intuition. I don't have to maybe say what I think I need instantly. Maybe it's a heated moment. That's not always the best moment to try to stand in your truth. It may be necessary. But we also had that word pause. Maybe what you need to do is unplug from the tension, let emotions come to a neutral, and then after prayer and meditation, after intuition and guidance comes, and that's where we are taking the life into our center. So then we go into the center. We go into our spiritual center. We become still. We listen. We listen to our feelings. We try to get in touch with what it is that we really need to say. What is the action? And that's the last part of this. Letting our center, our spiritual nature, move us. So anything that we're saying or doing is coming then from this center. We have connected with God, the omnipresence. We have connected with this field of infinite potential, the heaven, that has all the solutions needed for this possibility of this moment. That's the guidance and the intuition. And now we're in this center, so we're coming out to say what we need from our heart. From our heart, not our head, not our emotions, not a reaction. It's a very different process. And the results become very different also. The results, a person can hear what you're saying when you're coming from your heart in that way. When you've done your work. So the other part of this, though, that I think is really important is we keep always talking about the spiritual journey is that we change ourselves, right? As we change ourselves, then we change the world. Isn't that what we were talking about with the pebble in the pond? Is that when we change our emotions, we start to change how our energy comes out. We connect with people who are working on their journey that same way. It works the same way as the negative does. The positive works the same way. So we build this collective energy. We build this collective energy of love and peace and kindness, knowing our oneness. And we start within, but then action has to move us. It isn't just, okay, I've been transformed, and now I can sit in my room, I can sit on my mountain, I can just, be here. I believe our purpose here is to wake up, and that means then we're able to participate in the evolution of consciousness. To go back to our metaphysics, that's what we said that journey was. The Bible is the map, it is the outpicturing of the journey in consciousness of the human soul. And just think about that. Just think about that. Because in the early part of the Bible, there was a lot of, war and come and kill him and rescue me and do all these kind of things. There's a lot of that. And we have evolved. We have shifted now to love is the answer. Love is who we are. Shine your light. So our own journey has to mirror this too. We start with ourselves, but it's for a purpose. Shine your light. What I'm doing, you can do. Now, what did he do, Jesus? He engaged with those, especially those that were marginalized. He wasn't looking for the power and the glory. He was saying, no, what happens to me has to, I care about what happens to every man, to every person. Healing the blind, the lame, feeding the people that were there. All of those things were coming from the place of this love, this highest consciousness, the consciousness of oneness with God, the consciousness of oneness with God. That's our journey into this oneness. But if we're one, we have to do action. If we're one, our center is where we discover our interconnectedness, our oneness, and from here we are called to action. The human family was meant to work together. We're evolving, my friends, to this idea. There's still a lot of you and me and them and those and, the enemy and the good person and the bad person. And there's all of this dualistic thinking still floating around out there. The human family was meant to work together. That was what Jesus was demonstrating. He was working with the common people. He was telling them, and this is why his message resonated. In the beginning, they were looking for a Messiah that was going to give them a better life in this moment, in this planet, in what we consider reality, which some people call an illusion anyway. So he wasn't looking there. His message wasn't about, oh, you'll get a better job and you'll fall in love and you'll have, a great life. His message was really about turning your other cheek, loving your enemy, being a light in the... His message was a spiritual one. His message was connecting to your this infinite potential and allowing that to free us, allowing that love to transform us. And so once we start to do our work, I believe we can't stop at, now I've done my transformation. It has to come out in action. Now, I'm not here to tell anybody what that action is, because that action comes out from our center. But I do believe that we do have to stand in our truth. We have to say what is true for us, even if it's uncomfortable. But we don't say it aggressively and angrily. Remember, we're not here to add more conflict and more tension. We're here to do it after we've done the other process. After we know that we're coming from our heart, that it's coming from the very cellular level of our being, this love. Only when it comes from that level will we actually feel the difference. So to go back, this is Eckhart Tolle. Non-resistance is the key to the greatest power in the universe. He's saying the same thing we just talked about here, that it is the greatest power because it puts us into center. Because we're not talking about having power over just this material world in which we live. We're talking about being in the flow, being open to the presence of God within. And that's how we change our manifestation. We can't change our manifestation when we try to change the problem at the level of the problem. The only way our manifestation, what we end up seeing from this energy that we are, that's all around us, that influences and impacts everything whether we understand it or not. I don't have to understand electricity to know that it's working well around me, but it's only energy that somebody discovered how to make it work this way. And I get to benefit. So I get to be an influence of good. I get to be what I'm called to be here on purpose, to be a co-creator, to be an expression of light, to be love in this world by practicing all of these steps, by making a commitment to myself that is my purpose. My purpose is to wake up, and these are the steps to wake up, and that when I stay to the best of my ability. But it's not casual. It's like an exercise program, right? If I say, oh, I'm going to work out and really get myself in shape, whatever, or run a marathon, I can't just leave it to chance. I can't just leave it to chance. When you do a marathon, because I was going to do one, my husband did 3 New York City marathons, and I was signed up to do one other, and then I tore my Achilles, so that took care of that. But they give you a schedule on how to train. They tell you, these days you do these many miles, then this day you do a shorter mile, then this day you rest, then this day you do these miles. They build you up to being able to complete your marathon. If you leave it to chance, you go out to run your marathon, there's no way you're going to do 26 point something miles without training. It doesn't work that way. And this is the same story, our spiritual commitment. Now, a lot of us get committed, right? I want to play an instrument. I want to run a marathon. I want to learn this new course and change the vocation of my life. And we sit down and we commit, don't we? We make the time. We discipline ourselves. We do what is necessary to get to that goal. How many of us sit down with that same sense of purpose for our spiritual journey? And that's what's being asked of us. Just make that commitment to be focused on non-resistance. And the irony of the whole thing is that the byproduct is, I'll be happier. I'll be happier. You know, I think it's going to take more work, but I'll be happier. It's the same way as like eating right or any of those kind of things. If I'm doing the right thing for my body or for my mind, if I made that commitment for the new vocation and I feel fulfilled and now I've got the success of a new vocation, I feel happier. So it's not saying that those other things are negative. They're not. They're the demonstration that shows us how it works that we can then apply to the spiritual practice as well. So it is. And now let's just take these ideas, we're just going to go into the silence together right now. So I invite you to close your eyes. Just think about something that might have resonated for you. Think about maybe How does it feel to be in center? How does it feel to let go? Let go of something that you've been struggling with. Just let it be. How does it feel to accept the experience without needing to change it? How does it feel to open your heart to the presence of God? Breathe this in now with me in the silence. Now take another deep breath in. And just feel the presence of God that you are right here, right now. And so it is. Amen. And let's sing our Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
And now let's call our usher up. This is the time where we get to practice our law of giving and receiving. So I invite you right now to take your donations out in your hands. And for those of you that are joining us virtually, you too can participate in this very important part of the service by pressing a donate button on our website or simply mailing a check directly to the church. And like I said, this is an important part because this is how we support our coming together this way. And now let's say our affirmation together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have and all that I give and receive.
Well, I heard the name of this song a couple of times in the talk, and it is part of Non-Resistance, is Letting Go. Snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. The wind is howling like this swirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you always have to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. Let it go. Let it go. I am one with the wind and sky. Let it go. Let it go. You'll never see me crying. Here I stand, and here I stand. Let the storm rage on. Flurries through the air into the ground. My soul is spiraling in frozen fractals all around. And one thought crystallizes like an icy blast. I'm never going back. The past is in the past. Let it go. Let it go. And I'll rise like the break of dawn. Let it go. Let it go. That perfect girl is gone. Here I stand in the light of day. Let the storm rage on. It never bothered me anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Let it go. Was that from Frozen? God, I was on a youth retreat when that was popular, and all the girls was singing that, Let It Go, all through the retreat, so I recognized it. Let us bring our love offerings up, and let's do a blessing. Close your eyes with me, and let's just focus on gratitude. Thank you, God. Thank you for these gifts that are so freely flowing. Thank you for the love that is present here. Thank you for all of the possibilities that are able to meet every situation that we find ourselves in. Our hearts are filled with gratitude, and so it is. Amen. Okay, so let's bring up our platform person, Mary. She's going to tell us, she's running. She's dual working today. She's on the camera as well. She's going to tell us what's going on.
Thank you, Ellen. Okay, we have a few announcements. We need some volunteers. Two types, one to run the video camera on Sunday, which is what I'm doing right now in a few minutes in the AV booth once a month. And you can reach out to Greg, and he can give you instructions on all of the good stuff that you'll need to learn. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. We are also looking for a volunteer photographer to come in and take photos so we can post them on our social media and our website. Melody has been taking photos, I know, and it's just a fun way to connect with all of the beautiful faces in our congregation on Sundays. So call Kalia, who is our office manager, if you are interested. Metaphysical Bible interpretation is being taught by Reverend Ellen, started last week, I think, and it's not too late to join. The class is offered at 12 noon. In person or on Zoom, and again at 7 p.m. the same evening, Zoom only. You can check the church website, unitychurchofraleigh.com. And next Sunday, we're going to have our team meeting here right after the service. It's Pizza Party Sunday, so please stay after the service and find out what's going on behind the scenes with all of the different teams. And Ellen spoke earlier about saving the date, October 18th. Reverend Linda Martella-Wissett will be here Friday evening and launching the weekend retreat that we're joining in with Unity Chapel Hill. Now I'm going to invite our prayer ministry leader, Melanie, up, who wants to talk about World Day of Prayer, which is coming up.
Thanks, Mary. It's said that the simplest and most powerful prayer we can say is thank you. So I'm just going to say it now. Thank you for participating in World Day of Prayer. We've been doing it. You have another opportunity today to write the word stones that we're working on. So they're all over here with the markers. Work on your word stones, because next Sunday we are having our own World Day of Prayer service on the 15th. And after this beautiful service that Ellen's going to bring to us, we're going to take all of these word stones out to our front lawn near the sign, and we're going to create a little spiral nautilus right out front so that, we can walk around out there and just see these inspiring words. So after the service, be sure to come over here and grab your word stone and just start drawing away. It's really fun. I've been working on it over there. So World Day of Prayer is this coming Thursday. Thanks, Mary. There is a service, a pre-service on Wednesday night that you can tune into through Unity Worldwide. But we're going to be doing some things as well on Thursday, September 12th at 7 o'clock in the morning, 2 p.m., and 7 o'clock at night. We're going to have Zoom-guided meditations. So just 10 minutes, step off the wheel, tune in via Zoom, and have that prayer refreshment. Diane Evans is going to be doing a oneness blessing at the 2 o'clock session. Nisha is going to be bringing us a wonderful short meditation at 7 p.m. It's just going to be beautiful, so join us for that. On Thursday during the day, Reverend Ellen will be here at the church. She's going to be having healing circles, 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. So if you'd like to come out and participate in a healing circle, powerful, a place where you can speak into creation, what your heart's desire is, and then have everyone in that circle hold that vision with you, come 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock. She will be here to hold that sacred space with you. And then at noon, we're going to fire up the big TV here and watch the Unity Worldwide service, the big World Day of Prayer service. So we have all kinds of great activities happening. I'm looking to make sure that I've covered everything. And the last thing is at 8 o'clock, our time, Unity Worldwide will be doing a concert. So you can tune into that from the comfort of your own home via live stream. So do join us for all of these wonderful World Day of Prayer events. That's what Unity was founded on, and we are glad to do our part to raise that consciousness. Thanks, Mary.
My pleasure. Okay, and then at our sister ministry, Unity Holistic Wellness Center, we have 3 events coming up this month. On September 12th at 6:30, we have our Women's Sacred Healing Moon Circle, and it will be led by Diane Stako, who is a licensed and certified mind-body therapist. She's also a transpersonal hypnotist, and she's a spiritual guide who will be leading channeling light language, which is energy of the soul. And by working with the moon energies, we are going to have 4 of these the second Thursday of each month. I think it's September 12th, October 10th, November 12th, and December 12th. Check the calendar for the exact dates. And then on September 15th at 4:30, which is next Sunday afternoon, Stacy Page will be back for her Sunday Vibe Up with gentle yoga, meditation, and sound bath healing. And then the last Saturday of this month, we'll have Dr. Tom Ronan Goddard back, who will be leading a workshop on meditation, changing your relationship with meditation from chore to date night, which is what he's posted this as. And he's presented with us last several years. And for those of you who haven't quite gotten your meditation and mindfulness practice off the ground, he has some excellent tips to help you focus on how to create a practice. You can visit unityholisticwellnesscenter.org for more information. I believe that's all we have. Our healing circle will take place right after the service, and feel free to join us for the World Day of Prayer activities this week. And also we're going to have coffee and refreshments after the healing circle. Thank you. Have a great week.
Thank you, Mary. Wow, lots to do. By the way, if you're just viewing, joining us live streaming, send your email address to our office to Kalia at ucrprograms@gmail.com if you want to be put on our e-blast, because that's a lot. It's a lot of things that we've got going on in here, and you might want to have it come to your phone or your computer so that you can check off the things that you actually want to participate in. So now let us do our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. And let's stand and sing our peace song. And I invite you, when you go out from here today, to hold on to this idea about the power of non-resistance, that it is a spiritual return to our center for freedom. And so it is. Amen.
So it is. Namaste.
And let's stay in our circle right now. Unity was founded on prayer, and we are going to join together. Nisha's got our prayer box. Okay. For those of you who may want to talk with somebody today, we have prayer chaplains that are here today prayed up. They're wearing the purple stole. Not everybody remembers to wear one, but I see Melanie has her stole on. Nisha has hers. I know that Peggy led the meditation today, so she's prayed up. Nancy's prayed up. So my invitation is, if you've got something that is just stuck, something that you need to kind of work through or just bothering you or something like that, see one of these prayer chaplains and let them help remind you of the divine idea behind the challenge. The divine idea is what comes from that presence of God that we are talking about. That's the solution. And with that idea in mind, let's do our prayer. And our prayer is really just, again, affirming the truth, affirming the fact that God is here. Where two or three are gathered, there am I. There is presence in this collective consciousness. And as we shift into our center, into this spiritual nature that is love, let's just allow this energy of love right here and right now to vibrate at that high rate, to vibrate as wholeness, the wholeness of mind, body, and spirit. It's a healing energy, love, an energy that lifts us, that allows us to feel. Think about what love feels like. It allows us to feel full, ripe, connected to God and to each other. Love is that energy that knows oneness. Love that is eternal, has no beginning and no end. It is this energy that we put as the pebble in the pond together right here and right now, knowing our oneness, knowing that we are all interconnected, and that I am here to be love. I am here to be this expression of kindness, patience, understanding, presence, and that this is my purpose. And now into this field of healing energy of love, let's put the name of any person or situation that you want to feel that healing happen. And so it is, amen. Okay, so now we have refreshments.